all our friends, families, neighbors, relatives, you know. We're trying to help people out here, right? Help ourselves, help other people. And there's a good chance that we can turn this into a business if we do it right. So I just want to introduce this guy, Bill Black. Some of you know him, some of you don't. He's been around. He helped formulate Dorothy's Place before it became Dorothy's Place of today. He was a volunteer, did everything free, organized in here, and helping people, you know, directly from the heart, not from the paycheck. And he was also in Arizona. He did a veterans program over there. 400 people made their own little community shelter. It was client run, and that's kind of what we're trying to do here. Perpetuate that to where you all get a job out of this, and then we can say, hey, you know, we're organized. We're doing regular meetings. We got regular shifts. Nobody flakes. There's no trouble. You know, no police show up ever. You remember the flush program? Some people might remember the flush program. Personal hygiene lets us stay human, and that is all about getting a porta potty out there. They had tents by the garden. They had a pretty good, like 40 people, you know, like 20 tents, 30 tents in this vacant lot, and it was going great. You know, I mean, no cop trouble, nothing, and it's all just self-regulated. I don't know if they actually had papers to go with it, like actual rules, you know, and I think they had to sign them, didn't they? So a charter, bylaws, rules. So we're trailing them, but you know, and you guys are free to say, well, then maybe we'll change this rule or whatever too. I mean, you know, but it'd be cool to like get an actual place, right?
Yes.
It'd be cool to like run it and go, you know, at least we're not micromanaging, at least we're not jerks, and you know, treat you like a number and nothing. I mean, you lose that personable feeling when you know the money is your primary objective, which we've noticed over here at the warming shelter from time to time, I'm sure. But maybe we should just go around and just say your name and what's your favorite color or something. What's that? Oh, yeah, how long have you been here? So I guess just here in this camp.
Joanne, 3 months.
Maybe 2.5.
Yeah, pretty steady. How about you, Bear?
About a week.
Yes, almost a month.
Yeah, getting up there, huh?
About maybe 4 or 5 weeks already.
Okay.
Brother Stewart, about a month and a week, off and on.
Yeah. Pam? At least say your name anyway.
I'm Pamela. I'm a community advocate.
Cool.
Only a few days.
How long you been here?
A few days.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then a couple months ago, even before that, right?
Oh,
Oh. What do you guys got?
We're Jack and Kitty. We've been here for like about 3 months.
Okay.
Stretch,
Stretch, how long you been here?
about a month.
Okay. David, how long you been here?
David, I've been here about 3 months, on and off.
Yeah, you almost started this place, right? And then you were here maybe a couple weeks or 3 maybe, and then you're gone?
About a month or so, and then I took off for about 2 months.
Yeah. Right on. Colin, what you got?
Hi, my name's Colin. I've been here 4 or 5 months. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, right. Almost from the beginning too, huh? Ruben?
3 months.
Bill and Chuck, how long you think you've been here?
I'm Chuck. I've been here for 43 days and now 17 minutes.
Wow. Sounds about right.
How many seconds did you say? I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
My name's
nice.
Ben Gresham. I had my motor home towed on the 22nd. Thank God you were here when you did. It's just a little bit shy of a month.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Sal's been here off and on about a month. How about Jerry?
A couple of days just support. 6 weeks.
6 weeks, and Johnny, you're about the same time, huh? Yeah. All right. So I kind of already threw out why we're doing this meeting. I kind of threw it out there yesterday too. I'm getting tired. Damn, dude, I've been doing this almost 4 months by myself. It's time to help carry the load. Almost everybody here said they've been here at least a month. So right there, just that you've been here at least a month, dude, probably puts you to be an expert as to how this community runs, right? So you already know the rules. You're an expert at it. You could be a quote leader. I'm sure you've even told people about this place. Say, yeah, it's pretty chill. Whatever, come on over. And we'll take care of you. Dude will come back with blankets and set you up. So that's all we're trying to do is just help people, right? I mean, at this point, it's just a safe place to sleep, and then maybe try to perpetuate them in a positive direction. Look for work, look for housing, reconnect with family, so then maybe they'll take you in, So here's our guy Bill Black, and he's going to help us try to organize. We need shifts. We need people to step up and be leaders. Try to regulate as well, but
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
Okay, the rules supposed to be 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah, 10 o'clock curfew?
It's supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about the silence.
Oh, yeah, for quiet time? Yes. So you're saying sometimes that doesn't happen?
That's right.
And that's why we need some leaders.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, some people work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I parked it over there.
Okay. Yeah, but valid concern, exactly one of the points of doing this. Okay. What do you think?
I think we should approve the agenda so that way we have a plan for this
Oh,
meeting.
okay. Did everybody see this yesterday? You want a copy of it now? We may as well pass it out. Once you had a chance to look at it yesterday, any thoughts, ideas, suggestions, corrections, errors, omissions? Did you take a lighter to it?
Bernie,
Yeah. All right, that's
I want to see the 5 minutes of Bernie.
okay.
Call from +13025132876.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Okay, someone wants to move it. It'll take you a second to move it, but that's that way we have a plan.
Okay. Well, take a look at it. Do you remember anything that you wanted to add to it, take away from it? Think it's stupid? Great.
Okay, here we go.
Uh-huh.
Why do we camp here? Okay, straight up, I know exactly where I come from. I come from the hood, a very tough place. Okay, solid ass street, right?
Okay.
I know a lot of those boys out there.
Yeah, well, I'm asking about the agenda. Is there anything you want to add to it?
Well, what I'm saying about a safe place. This is about as safe as it gets.
So let's
Sweet.
not have the meeting right now. I'm going to ask if you approve the agenda. And the reason that's important is so that you can go forward for the next 35, 40 minutes with a plan, okay? If you get ahead of yourselves, you won't have a plan for the next 35 minutes. They can drag on and on. So I'm just going to ask, is this a plan we can go with? And we'll have that conversation, but is this a plan we can go with for this meeting? And if it is, would someone say I move the agenda and we have a vote on it? Move the agenda. Okay. Call the vote.
Yeah, I heard two people move it, so that sounds like one person's second. So yeah. All in favor of dealing with this agenda? Aye. Anybody opposed?
Nope.
Okay.
And what you just did now is you've given yourselves a nice fence to work inside of, okay? Because without that fence, you can have chaos. But with that fence, you now have set your boundaries. You can change them, by the way. This is not, you can have other meetings, you can change this. But this is just a very common way of people, especially when you have 20 people coming together, to have a plan for your conversation. Okay, that's all we did. Okay.
It's all you.
Okay, thank you. I know a lot of you. You know I'm Bill Black, and I used to work here, 3 years ago at Dorothy's. I was the case manager at Dorothy's for about a year and a half. I actually started the case management program there. I don't take responsibility for what it is today. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but But before I did that, I was actually a community organizer in Arizona, Chicago, and Boston. And I once again returned to my vocation of community organizing. I now live in Philadelphia, and I'm with the Catholic Worker Movement, and I work with starting peer group organizations, primarily people who are homeless. Okay, that's what I do. And so Wes has asked me to lead this portion of the meeting. And really what I'm going to say is I want to facilitate a conversation with you about a specific aspect, a specific question on power. Now, I'm going to ask that for this portion of the meeting, we don't talk about issues and we don't talk about problems, because there's a lot of time to talk about that, and they need to be talked about, okay? They absolutely need to be talked about, and they need to be addressed, hopefully by you, with some power. But first, we got to talk about power, so we get clear about why you want it or what it is. So who speaks Spanish here? Anyone speak Spanish? What's the Spanish word for power?
Oh, that one I don't know, to be honest.
Okay.
Fuego? No.
Poder. No, that's fire.
All right.
Poder. The Spanish word for power is poder.
Poder?
Poder.
Poder.
See, it means to be able. That's literally the meaning of power. We think of power as something like, if this is power and I've got the power, you don't have the power, now you take it. Now you've got the power and I don't have the power. We think of the word as an object. And it's not an object. It's a doing. To be able. To be able. Okay? And in our society, power, or to be able, comes in two forms. It comes as organized money. So if you're got the checkbook, you can write the check to the candidate running for office, and they will do what you want, or not do what you don't want. That's one form of power, and that tends to be what we think of in politics, in government, in society. There's another form of power, and that's organized people. It takes a lot of work. It takes a little more work. If you can't write a check for $1,000 and give it to the candidate for mayor, then you might want to think about if you want to be able to shape your community and make those decisions on issues and problems, okay, that affect you, then you want to think about the other form of power, which is organized people. And to do that, you need a platform. You need some sort of structure. It might be a labor union. It might be a church. It might be a synagogue. It might be a mosque. It might be a civic club. It might be a neighborhood association. It might be any number of institutions. But it's got to be something. Otherwise, it's just a crowd. Right? If it's going to be sustained, if you're going to sustain it, and you're going to have it, where people can come and talk to you and negotiate with you, you've got to have a platform. So today, I'd like to talk about building that platform, starting where we're at, starting right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I have a few questions to maybe get us there or think about that. If you couldn't stay here, where would you stay? Where would you stay if you couldn't stay here?
Myself, I'd probably find someplace out of the way.
Someplace out of the way. Thank you for that. That's an honest. Where would you stay? No idea. Van, where would you stay?
Out of the way in some inaccessible spot.
Out of the way in an inaccessible spot. Where would you stay?
Likewise,
Or at the mission? Yeah. Where would you stay?
I'd become a hobo.
I'd become a hobo. And where would that hobo stay?
Wherever he could.
Wherever he could. Okay. Are there many choices?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. Yeah. Where would you stay, ma'am?
I'm going to go into somebody's room in their home.
Okay. Now, 3,000 years ago, or 2,500 years ago, there was a Greek called Aristotle. He once said that politics, that is the work of the people, the work of the many, the work of the city is actually the name. Politics starts when that airplane gets done, okay? Politics starts with the public sharing of private pain. You can't do that holed up under the bridge. You could survive for a day or two or a week or a month or a year, sometimes 20 years under the bridge, but you're not going to change anything under the bridge. Politics starts with the public sharing of private pain. What that requires is a community where you can come together, and it requires trust. Okay? Because I'm not going to trust my private pain if I don't, I'm not going to share my private pain if I don't trust the people who are hearing it. What a camp can do is be the school to do that, to form that. I'm going to read a passage here from this pedagogy. It's a fancy word for education, okay? I'm going to read a passage here that's about the homeless union, the National Homeless Union. It's a very moving passage, and I'm going to read it, and I'm going to concentrate on the last sentence. The heart and soul of the National Union of the Homeless is to commit our lives to ending the oppression of all homeless people and work tirelessly for economic justice, human rights, and full liberation. We dedicate ourselves to transmitting our awareness to our sisters and brothers, to planning a sustained struggle, and to building an organization that can obtain freedom through revolutionary perseverance. Strong words. We pledge our deepest personal commitment to end all forms of exploitation, racism, sexism, and abuse. And if anyone's ever abused, it's the homeless, because they have no voice. True solidarity demands that we create not only a new society, but also a new human being. We start that with us. What can I do as a human being to remake myself or ourselves to do this? And that's what a camp organization or a homeless union can do. It's not that it does it to you, it's that you are the union and you're doing it for each other. That requires what? That word trust, right? Trust. And habits of conversation. You can't have a sustained conversation if you're hiding out. getting out of the way. You can't have a sustained conversation and develop trust. That takes time, and it takes a place that's stable, and it takes leadership. Any questions? Am I off track on this? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anyone want to share an example of where they've seen that in their life?
Okay, so otherwise what you're saying, right? I understand what we need right here is a solid foundation,
Yes.
a voice. That's exactly what you're saying. Am I correct, sir?
Yeah, and yes, a solid foundation, and the word solid is the key here because it means respectful of all the voices and all the ears. It means sustainable. It doesn't here for a week and gone. That's often the problem with a lot of camps. Okay, they're swept. You heard the term sweeping the camps? They're going to sweep the camps, right? Who's been swept here? Who's been swept? I've been swept. I know what it's like to be swept. You do that to trash. You don't do that to human beings. Okay? So a stable place to learn and acquire that new human being. Us. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. None of us are. But we can become better. And we can learn to advocate for our community with effectiveness. Could you see yourself in a camp that you run? Raise your hands. Could you see yourself in a camp that you run? Who could see themselves in a camp that they run?
Who wants to be king of their castle?
All of it.
Remember that word power, to be able.
All of it.
Can you see yourself, can you imagine having that ability to run a camp? And I'm going to take it one step further. If you can run a camp, could you run a shelter? Could you run a shelter? Collectively, could you run a shelter? Could you have a voice in the shelter that was listened to? And go take it another step. Could you run a housing complex or a housing unit or some sort of housing? Could you be a leader in your apartments or your neighborhood? Could you do that? Can you see yourself doing that?
Yeah.
Raise your hands. Who wants that?
Yeah. We could possibly buy out a hotel and take that over.
Well, I know some veterans, I know some homeless veterans in Phoenix that did just that. They started meeting in a parking lot that was called the Madison Street, was the epicenter for homelessness in Phoenix, the center of homelessness in Phoenix. 3 homeless veterans started meeting in that parking lot, and from that little, very humble beginning, they formed the Madison Street Veterans Association, the MSVA, and they started by running a camp. And then they made a deal with the shelter, and they said, well, we'll help you run the shelter for the veterans. It was an interesting negotiation, but at the end of the day, they had a deal. And the veterans had their corner, and they ran it. Not the case manager, the veterans. They were coached, by the way. They were coached. But they ran it. They made the decisions. And then they started getting some grants and some money. They got the first grant was from the Catholic Campaign for Human Development. And that first little $500 check led to a $1,500 check from the Jewish war veterans. And that led to, eventually, the last act that Janet Napolitano, who was governor of Arizona at the time, the last thing she did before she left for Washington to become the director of Homeland Security was she signed an executive order transferring $40,000 to this little homeless group. So they could go out and rent a center or their own space and run their own day center and do their own outreach. Well, that was the beginning, because after that they raised more money, and eventually they leased the second floor of the YWCA building, and they opened up their own shelter with 60 beds that they ran as a co-op. That is to say this. They could invite in the social worker because, they wanted their assistance. They weren't dumb. But they can invite them out if they misbehaved. If they treated them with disrespect, they could say thank you, but go. That was a partnership between the platform that they formed, the union, if I use that word, and the authority of the Veterans Administration and the Maricopa County Human Services campus, okay? That was authority that had they had the gates of the kingdom, the keys to the kingdom, and these guys had what? Organized people, right? They did that in Phoenix. You can read about it. 20 years ago, there was a national movement called the National Homeless Union, the National Homeless Union.
National Union of the Homeless, yes.
National Union of the Homeless. And they had victories, okay? They had 1,000 members in Chicago. They had 25 chapters across the country. They started like this. So why do we have a homeless union? Why would we want one? The word starts with P. Give me the word.
Power.
Power, yes. To be able. Why? Because we're human beings. We could be that new human being, and I'll say this: if done well, we could look back in Monterey County 20 years from now, 10 years from now, and the changes that we see, we could look back and say it started right here by this flagpole with you, and it started right there in Chinatown with a camp, and it started right there on 101 with a camp. And it started by the overpass with a camp. Okay? That's where the leadership could come from. That's where 20 years from now, people sitting on that council can say, I started in the camp. I learned my way there. I learned how to organize. I learned how to run a meeting. I learned how to ask. I learned how to proposition. I learned politics. The work of the many. That's what the word means. The work of the many. So, the agenda, we're done with the presentation, and I'll take questions and comments and condemnation. But the agenda now calls for a decision, because you're free, right? You're human beings. You can decide. And I'm going to respect your decision. I'll respect your yes, and I'll respect your no. If you say yes to this question, then we're committed to helping. Not doing for you, but helping. I'm an organizer with 20-some years experience. I can help, but I can't do it for you. Wes here is an organizer with incredible abilities. You've seen it. You've all seen it. He can help you, but he can't do it for you. And I'll help him. Okay? But you have to make the decision, yes or no. Yeah.
I have a question as far as the organizers in Arizona. How long were they doing it, and how many did you have going and how big a population?
So we had in the epicenter of the city, the Capitol Mall area, about 4,000 homeless people on any given night. They would disperse, half would disperse into the riverbed and other places. About 1,500 were in the shelter system, 500 were on the streets in the inner city. So to answer your question, the Arizona Organizing Project was the lead organizing tool that was used to coach, to support, coach these groups, okay? We had 3 organizers, all of whom had been former homeless leaders. Now the Madison Street veterans had their own cadre of leadership, okay? 16 of those guys completed a 4-month training program on peer leadership development through the Recovery Empowerment Network and became certified peer leaders in Arizona, by the way. They got a scholarship for that, and that was a great path for them. The Capitol Mall Fellows, which was a peer group of former penitentiary inmates, they moved very, very effectively in downtown to form relationships with the legal system and the banking system, and they were part of the reason they got a house in which they could operate as a base.
Sweet.
The Jefferson Street Gentlemen's Association, which was a group of elderly men, 55 years and older, and the Women of Wealth, which is a group of homeless women, similar, the peer group, they also had their own turf, okay? So those are the groups that we were working with. There was a budget that we raised from the foundations. There was a lot of leadership development going on, a lot of meetings, and it was successful to a point, okay? I'll say this, I'm not going to paint it like it was all perfect. It was successful to a point. The question becomes how you sustain it. That's the trick. And that's what you'll have to figure out with other people. Okay, so there's no magic pill here. I wish there were. But I think there's a path.
How many homeless people are in Monterey County?
What's the number, Ben?
I think it's closer to 4,000 people. About 2,000, 2,200 in Salinas alone.
And it depends on how you define it, because
That's true
there was
too.
a group here. Who lived in the hotels on Main Street about 3 years ago? Remember the El Dorado Parents Club? Rita helped form that. That was a homeless parents club. The families were living in the motels. One rent every day, having to pay rent, or every week, or get on the street. Or people who are living in garages, or couch surfing, or homelessness comes in many shapes and ways. There's a hidden homeless. This is the. My God! Look, we're at City Hall. Okay, this is City Hall. All eyes are on you. I mean, you've been given very little, but you have been given this. You have been given the spotlight. How you use it, how it's used will make a difference. You've been given the spotlight. You're right here in front of Salinas City Hall, the flagpole. Every night for 3 months, 20 tents. That's incredible. But that's a start. That's not the answer. Right. Not the answer, but it's where we are. Okay? So I'm going to turn it back to this very capable organizer. This man who gets organizing, I'll tell you that. I've worked with a lot of organizers across the country. Wes gets it. He does. And so I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to ask you to make a decision, and we will abide by that decision, whichever decision you make. Okay? Thank you.
So yeah, the moment of truth on. Do we want this to continue?
Yes.
Okay. So we need some people who are willing to organize, and basically be those rule. Okay. What do you got?
If you're going to say yes, I want you to let people know it. So stand up and say yes. Okay? Because people will see you right here. Look, stand up and look into each other's eyes when you say yes, because you're making a promise now. You're making a promise to your fellow campers to say yes. And don't just mumble yes.
To what?
Are you willing? Are you willing to organize a homeless union starting at this camp?
Yeah.
Are you willing to do that?
And what that means is somewhat of a responsibility. You got to take meetings, and you have to follow rules. You have to help other people follow rules. You have to be a positive role model. And basically have a desire to want to help people selflessly, because you need a lot of patience. And that's going to take a lot of redirection and a lot of maturity. It's not for everybody. And it's certainly a burden. It doesn't come but there are rewards. I mean, I feel like this is a reward, you know, letting people have a safe place to sleep, get a little bit more, you know, sane, and then maybe move in a more positive direction. Maybe a little less drinking because that cuts down your budget. You know, semantics. And then maybe connect them with services, get them housed. You know, that's kind of what we're looking for, is some people interested in helping more people, because that's the only thing that's going to sustain this. Yes, Pam.
So, from the time that we brought boxes out to meetings that we went to for Health and Human Services, basically the county and the city know about you, but they didn't know who you are. And what that bill was saying is, by you being here, it's like beyond them seeing your tents, how do they see you? In dealing with organization, it deals with building relationships and showing that basically that they need to invest in you. That when they can call you a name, they don't have to deal with anything. With the city deals with buildings. What organizers deal with is building relationships and building people. So what that bill travels from a long ways away. For Wes, basically he's spoken a lot, but they don't hear him anymore. So how many of you can get 10 people with you to be able to show that you're doing more than just laying on the ground?
Okay, excuse me.
Right.
That's the thing is, how many of you are willing to get 10 people to show who that you are?
And that would be good. The more people that can get 10 people, that's great. That is a super leader. But don't feel that to participate, you have to do that. There are many ways to participate based on the gifts you have, okay? Everybody has a gift that they can give. And sometimes getting involved in, sometimes getting involved in an organization is to discover what that gift is, okay? You may not even know what that gift is until you go and look for it. And this is an opportunity to do that.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Forgive me. This gentleman had his hand up, and then we'll go.
Okay.
I just wanted to say something. I myself have been homeless for like a little while, and right now I'm going to the welfare and signing up for things like GA and stuff. Many a times I put my name and all my information down, and I put the word homeless on the application. So the people at the social services know I'm homeless, but yet I only get 193, I believe, in GA, 194 in food stamps, and that's it. That's not enough for me to live by.
Right.
Period. And it's just the way society is nowadays. It's just too much costly things. You know, I've got things to pay for, bills and things, and when I go in there and I say homeless, I feel like they don't understand what that word means, because they don't just give me enough benefits to survive.
Okay. Point blank, exactly what Pam is saying, right? Okay, here we are, right, our little community, right? Okay, the community without there is watching from the outside in. They want to see what we're doing, what our time, what are we growing, how are we growing, what are you doing? Are you just doing nothing? They're not, if they see that, right, you think they're going to go the extra mile for you? Nada. So that's exactly what Pam is saying. Correct, Pam?
Yeah, and like with my son, he was hit by a train and he died. And we lived in King City, and culturally they didn't see him. So what Bill said before is when that we listen to each other's story, we realize that we're not alone. And in dealing with, they already know what we've asked for, but in how that you do things, you know that you can't live off of that. So in being able to say what that you're willing to do, could you volunteer for a stipend? If we could, for a stipend. In other places like Oakland, for you doing work to improve the community, then they can give stipends to do it. So if we came up with a plan with the people here, because you're leaders and you're living together, would you be willing to volunteer and better this community for them to give you like a hotel stay, or for them to see, like, because when you put in, you don't become the homeless, you become the stakeholder that you are. They get to see your gift. So if we were to help you to be able to find a creative way to show and get the things that you need more than the $100, would any of you be willing to get stipends for volunteering?
All right.
So I'd like to come back to the question before you, because I'm asking you, and I heard a yes, but I'm asking you to make that yes
Pronounced.
to each other.
Yes.
Okay? And the way you make it, one way to make it to each other is to say yes and stand up and look in the eyes of each other as you make it.
That we want to make this
That you would like to organize and become an organizer, flagpole coordinator.
but I want us to organize.
Okay, that's the question,
Okay,
really.
all
That is
right.
the question.
All right.
So you want to organize?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I work with this gentleman right here, Van, on an article. He runs a newspaper called Voices of the Streets. I believe that when you get your voice out there for the homeless on the streets, then that's probably gonna, let your voice be heard, because that's the main goal, is your voice has to be heard while you're homeless. If it's not, then like you said, you're that homeless person that no one ever sees, no one ever knows about, and you're that hidden homeless, and you don't really want it.
So I count 19 people here, not counting Wes and I. So, moment of truth.
All right. So just as a collective membership is what we're asking about. Just that you want to be on board with the program.
Yes.
Good. Okay, so
Yes.
stand up.
Yes.
Come into the circle.
I want us to
Stand up or roll in. Either way. Stand up
that's
and
gonna be
roll in,
hard.
brother.
Gotta roll
Stand
all the
up
way
and
around.
roll in. Okay?
Bill, is this for, are we seeing Kumbaya now?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
We don't do
Close.
that till later with
Oh, okay.
mushroom,
After
with
we
the
take it.
with the marshmallows.
The mushroom.
With the
I mean
mushrooms.
the
I'm sorry.
marshmallows.
Yeah, right.
I meant
Yeah,
marshmallows.
marshmallows.
Magic marshmallows. Okay.
Magic, yeah.
All right. Okay. Look in each other's eyes. Really, look in each other's eyes. You're committing. You're not committing to Bill Black or Wes White. Okay, you're not committing to us. You're committing to each other. And take a look at who's committing. Okay. I guarantee you that in the next 6 months there will be a moment where you may want to come up to your fellow and say, "Hey, remember that promise you made?"
No, I don't.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Okay. So. This is the moment. This is the moment where it starts, right here. It's the public commitment to each other in this community. You have the power, the ability, the padar to start this. And this is the platform. This is the platform from which you can speak to the city hall and to the community and be heard. Because now you're not just hiding out. Now you're an organization. We will, in the next few weeks, you're going to figure out, with Wes, coaching, and you'll make the decisions how you shape that, what it looks like. But you've made a decision. Soak it in.
All right.
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
See, okay.
Yeah. We have another question to ask. Yeah, right. Well, ain't no power would probably be going.
Hey, no, you want to teach me?
Well, if we could do one more point of business, which is now that hopefully we sparked some interest in at least one or two of you to start coming to regular meetings and just getting more involved at this point.
About city council meetings?
No, our union meetings, and showing up to city council or just showing up to voice your opinions is huge. Showing up to collaborate with other organizations is huge. Just that's how we end up being voiceless and faceless, because we don't show up.
So you got a meeting on Friday. I'm going to say you. There is a meeting on Friday, right?
Correct.
2:00. And so now the people at that meeting should receive a delegation from this camp. Who's going to deliver the letter?
Right.
Who's going to deliver the message? we formed a group. We're the first one in Salinas, we formed it. And we need 2 people to agree to deliver that message for you all, and an alternate. So,
I'll be an alternate.
okay, we got an alternate. We need 2 people. Yes, 1.
Yes, that's who I was thinking of. too.
Okay, 1. Who else? Who else? Who else? We need 1 more person. Okay, so we got 2 delegates and an alternate to deliver the message. And what's the message?
That we're here.
That we're here. Yeah, exactly. We're here. We're organizing. We're going to take the steps necessary, right? That's the message. We can do it. We can deliver that message.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we got a pretty good chant, you know, and it's pretty empowering. And it kind of goes, ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop,
Say
and they
what?
won't stop.
This has been used since police shootings and everything else. So it goes like this. Ain't no power like the
power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop.
Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop.
Say what?
I am
somebody.
I am somebody. I am somebody. Now what I want is when the women will say, ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop. And then the men say what? Say what? And then when we get to say I am somebody, then we'll do it in unison. So women say, ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop.
Say what?
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop.
Say what?
Ain't no power, because the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop.
Say what?
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop.
Say what?
I am
Somebody.
I am
Somebody.
I am
Somebody.
I am
Somebody.
Ain't no power like the power of the people.
Should make the guy say it.
The people won't stop.
Say what?
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop.
Say what?
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop.
Say what?
I am
Somebody.
I am
Somebody.
I am
Somebody.
I am
Somebody. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All the meeting?
Yeah.
I got something to say.
Okay.
I said, now that we're all here, including myself, I know we all signed an agreement or the rules, and a lot of rules have been broken, including myself. I've been breaking them, but we all need to stick together and follow those rules. You know, we need to come as one. Not just 1 or 2 follow the rules and the other ones don't, because it don't look right. You know what I mean? There's people watching us. You know, we're being watched. You know, but you know, so we need to stick with each other. And if you see somebody doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, I'm talking about. I mean, just making noise at night after 10 or whatever it is. Just talk to that person. You know what I mean? Hey, keep it down, or it's 10 o'clock, or whatever. We need to stick together.
I figure whatever they do in their tent, that's their business, as long as they're not blowing it or doing nothing like that. You know, then that's fine. But if you know, making noise, yelling and screaming and fighting, all that shit, that.
everything that
but what you do in your
anybody-
tent, that's your business. And keep it too. You know.
Because just because of one person or 2 people, we can all get kicked out of here, or we can lose what we're trying to start.
Sure.
You know,
Yep.
so I mean, there might be some people that don't care and are just here to sleep here. You know, but I don't think that's right. That we should lose all what we're trying to get behind 1 or 2 individuals. You know, I mean, I don't know. I look at it like, you know, like I was telling Wes. You know, if some people don't want to follow the rules, then they shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Including myself. Including myself.
Here's a recommendation. You've had a great meeting. I would ask that you conclude the meeting. And if we want to have conversations about this, let's do it. Let's do this after this meeting, because I think you've done your business.
I think this is pretty pretty fruitful actually. And along with these rules, you know, I mean, we signed it. So you know, and at the very bottom it says, please, you know, you either take the advice or voice your objections to it. So we need to respect the rules because we signed it. If we don't like the rules, let's make a suggestion, and then collectively we can make a decision and say, yeah, that's a good rule, bad rule, whatever, and vote on it if we want to. But I mean, you know, we need to make some set of standards that we can all respect.
And we also should keep in mind that any action of any of us is a reflection on all of us.
That's a fact.
Because when we're staying by the tent and by the garden, I mean, 10 o'clock, you know, and which didn't your tent was your business, but no people hanging out around it and stuff. And after 10 o'clock, nobody was allowed to go into the premises right there.
Mm-hmm. Pam.
Unless you worked.
Pretty much, most of us been here for a while, for a few months, and a lot of us been here. We all pretty much know each other. And, you know, I say, you know, let's respect each other, and you know, respect each other as a family, because we are a family. You know, we're here to look out for each other. You know, because like I say, you know, like I said, including myself, you know, I've done things that I shouldn't be doing, sometimes yelling or whatever. Right. You know, I say, you know, I said to myself, you know what, I gotta what do you say? Lead by example. You know what I mean?
There you go.
You know, how am I gonna say something, or if I'm doing the same thing? You know, so I just basically say, you know, let's respect each other. You know, we all know each other. You know, we get along pretty good. We all get along pretty good. You know, let's just look out for each other, man, because we're all in this together. You know, we're fighting for the same thing, man. You know, we don't want to be out here for a long time. You know, we're trying to get to our goal. You know, and let's do it. We've got to do it all together, not just one or two people.
Okay.
If somebody don't really want to be here, or just being here because they just want to sleep here, there's a lot of places to go sleep. But don't mess it up for the rest of us. You know. Well said.
Right. Okay, Pam. Pam.
What that we've been doing as a collective on the east side since we've been dealing with like the impact and trauma is we wrote out agreements. So you get a big poster board, and then everybody can write down their agreements, and at the bottom sign it. What we have is a word called palabra. When you give up your word, when you give up your word, do you give up your heart? So another process that could happen if you want is making an agreement board where that everybody signs what is important to them, and then when you all put your signatures to it, that's like your code of honor, your word.
Right. Well, so in some respects, it's an expression of love and respect, admiration of each other and themselves.
Collectively.
Mm-hmm.
I got one more thing to say. As far as like Wes has been doing a lot for us. You know, he carries all our properties. He holds a lot of our stuff. He washes our blankets and everything. You know, I mean, a lot of us don't have a job or don't have no income. But for those that we do have, we should contribute and help them out and give them some money, you know, to help wash the blankets, or sometimes, you know, have a meal or two a week or whatever. We need to help each other out, you know, because I'm pretty sure he don't want to pay out of his pocket to support us. You know, we got to support each other. You know, so I feel like, you know, we should all contribute and you know, help out, you know, because I know it's hard, you know, but I see a lot of times that just only the same people getting money and some don't, and I know they got money, but and that's not right. You know, come on, let's do this together, man. Let's help each other out. We're not helping him out. We're helping each other out.
Right. Well, and there's a little sense of reciprocation there too, which kind of goes to the community. So you're paying it back, paying it forward one way or the other. You know, it's definitely appreciated.
Okay. You know, I agree with this young lady what she was saying, right? Because whether you guys know it or not, there'd be a lot of people from the outside coming in here. You know, I don't know if you guys been noticing that. So when I'm basically saying she's right, what I'm saying, right, there's a lot of people from the outside coming in. We don't know them, right? Mm-hmm. They can be anybody.
Okay.
So what I'm saying, you know, let's watch each other's back. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and honestly, I will try to. When I see new people, I will ask, does somebody here know you? And I try to get somebody to vouch, because there's plenty of people that just walk off a blanket.
There's a lot of men in the women here, you know, except somebody you know.
Mm-hmm.
We got a 10 o'clock, it's like a 10 o'clock curfew or whatever it is, but you know, after 10 o'clock, if somebody doesn't stay here, it doesn't belong here, they shouldn't be coming here, because a lot of people.
And that's already in the rules.
It's not us. It's not us that are making the noise or blowing it for us. It's the people that come out from out and come here and start want to be yelling all night.
Okay, so here's another thing. I want you guys to take a look at the rules. If you're already fine with the rules and you don't have any problems with it, if you want to improve the language on it, I encourage you to go ahead and reread these rules, analyze it, tell me, you know, you want to throw something out or reword it. You know, I'm totally down for changing it altogether.
You could have a rules meeting in 2 days.
Yeah, and maybe we can just kind of go over it in a couple days even, and just be like, you know, I don't know. I mean, it just, if anybody's got any objections to it or you want to make it stronger, let's do that. So in a couple nights, so let me, I'll give you, I've got extra copies in my car, and we can rework out a set of rules if you want.
And then work out these protocols for following them. Not
Right, yeah, consequences. Yep.
But end the meeting on a positive.
Okay. So yeah, I think we did.
Thank you, Bill.
So we are very interested in staying together and staying alive and thriving. Hey, maybe even we could take over this whole service provider industry.
You could. You
I
could.
got one more
Let's
thing
say
to say.
amen and end the meeting and then the rest.
Yeah.
I got one more thing to say. I think
You could definitely
we should,
influence it.
we should get like 2 or 3 people to to not really be in charge, but to watch out at night. You know, to keep this
Right.
place mellow.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because it gets, sometimes it gets out of hand. But
And
like I
that's
said, it's
so.
not us.
I'm certainly taking applications for coordinators.
In a couple of days, if you want to have a meeting on the rules and the consequences, and I really would advise you to do that. okay?
Yeah.
Pam, I think there's probably some resources in this county that will teach people about peer leadership, peer intervention, and that's the kind of skill you need for a camp. Basically, camp facilitators that do that. Okay?
Right.
I won't call them guard. I'm going to call
No,
them security.
flagpole
really overhead.
coordinator.
But camp peer support. Camp peer support. Okay. That's a skill that can be learned, and you can learn it, and there are resources to learn it. And frankly, they're only going to deal. You talked about taking over the social service industry, right?
Yeah, the service provider.
That's a big step, but you can influence it sooner than later. You can influence it, and part of the influence is going to them, like Interim and others, and saying, we want peer support training. We've got a group, we've got a charter, we're formed, we want training. You can do that, and frankly, they would probably love to do that. It would be in their interest to do it, and it would be in your interest to do it. Okay?
Right, and then you get certificates, which will help you get a job.
You got it. Okay.
All right. Thank
Right
you, Bill.
on.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's
You're
Elvis.
right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.